This is Wynne Fanchon and Reiterpallasch here. All those fancy maneuvers won't help you in hell.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We were looking at another build today. Certainly are looking at a build. A little bit of an unfortunate build, but I still wanted to do it because I liked this build before in Armored Core 4 Answer. Armored Core 4 Answer. I also like the character a lot. She's one of my favorite characters from the game from before. The only thing is she did not translate too well into this game. Number one, her legs don't quite work out. Like, her original legs were weird, so I wasn't expecting to be able to find an exact set of legs that would match. But then the other thing is her weapon loadout is a little rough translated into this game, and we'll get into that. So let's go ahead and start by looking at what she's made of. Go to the head. I went and used mostly VP parts, the Arquebus VP parts, because they're kind of bubbly and they look about right. And her upper torso did kind of have, I feel like it had this smooth rounded off shape to it, and so we went with this. We got the head, VP44D. The core is the CC2000 Orbiter. Now this was an RED part. It was slightly different, mainly just because it matches the most in my opinion. On the arms, we got the VP46S. Not only did these look right, but they had a pretty good recoil to firearm specialization, and the melee specialization is pretty good too, which is something we needed to be pretty good because we do have a melee weapon. And on to the legs. The legs, this is where things got a little bit weird because in the original build, she had some legs that looked like it had like the front end of jet intakes on them. Like just the propeller part, not like the rest of it, just that. It kind of almost would have worked with these, but these are a little too slow and heavy. Although it does keep her above 300 on the boost speed, and I do have a personal rule of my own, keep it above 300. But I just don't like the way they look for the build. That didn't quite work right and makes you squat. I just don't like that squat. And I went with my favorite booster. It is kind of just my favorite booster, honestly. If I'm not planning on doing a whole lot of like flight, this is usually the one I go with. For the FCS, you'll probably be surprised to see we are focusing hard on the long range. And the reason for it is because we do have a linear rifle and a laser cannon on our back. Both of these we want to use when we're kind of far away because it stops us in our place. And they're ranged weapons anyway, so might as well use them as ranged weapons. Moving on to the generator, we only had like two options for generator that we could use, as seems to be the common theme going along these. After I've gotten the build done and I start looking at the generators, I usually have like one or two options. Not very often do I have too many other options available without changing too much. And we ended up having either the NGI 000 or the VP20D. Now the VP20D would have went well with the build itself, and it probably works pretty well with this anyway, as long as you don't let yourself drain your energy output completely. You put your energy drained completely and this thing's going to be harder to deal with coming back. Whereas these two generators down here, yeah, it takes a while for that generator to like supply the energy back, but that supply recovery, that post recovery energy supply is as good as it gets. I mean, you're going to have almost a full bar and you'll be able to just fly again. It's great for if you're about to fall off the map and you think you need that last second boost to come back up. And we went with the assault armor because I'm obsessed. Now onto the weapons. We got the Harris, the linear rifle, LR-037 Harris. Went with this because she originally had a railgun, and if you look at the description for the Harris, it does in fact say the lengthened barrel provides extra distance for rounds to accelerate, allowing for high damage at long range. Now that phrasing of saying lengthened barrel provides extra distance for rounds to accelerate indicates to me that this is in fact a type of railgun. And so since this is a type of railgun, we're going to go with the linear rifle on this one. I could have done the Curtis, but we're going to go with the Harris just because we need the power. She needs everything she can get. On the other arm, we have the laser blade, the VVC-770LB. I could have gone with the pulse blade, but I kind of wanted this one instead. I've kind of started to grow to like this one, which is weird because I hated it at first. I hated it a lot. I thought the pulse blade was way better. I still kind of think the pulse blade has its moments where it's better, but this blade has its use. And also, part of the reason why I went with the laser blade instead of the pulse blade is we didn't have pulse blades in Armored Core 4 Answer. We had literally almost every single blade was a type of laser blade. And not only that, but this has I believe the longest blade reach of all the actual blades in this game. On our right back, we're using the pulse cannon. This is where things start getting weird. I think this is actually the whole reason why this build is struggling, is because it has this pulse cannon. Nothing wrong with pulse weapons. Pulse weapons pair nicely with other pulse related things and some other weapons. But when you just throw one pulse cannon onto a build and nothing else is working with pulse, it ends up being an issue. And I wanted to go with accuracy, so I forced myself to play this thing with the pulse cannon. My suggestion is if you want to use this build, upgrade this gun to probably another laser cannon. You'll lose a bit of speed, you'll maintain above 300 at least, but you'll definitely get higher in the DPS. Like, your attack goes up, your impact goes up, everything is just better with this other laser gun. And right now the game kind of seems to fare for laser cannons quite a bit. So do it. Just don't do what I did. Don't punish yourself with the pulse cannon. This thing is only good when it's used right, and it does not get used right in this build. Next we have, as we already mentioned, the laser cannon VP60 LCS. This is one of probably the better parts of this build. This thing does a pretty decent amount of damage. It is probably the highest part of the damage to the build, minus, smacking them with that sword. You gotta get really close with that sword, and that's really kind of all that sword is for, is when they get closer, you hit them with that thing to get them away from you, or you hit them with that thing to finish that stagger, and then you can go ahead and hit them with a couple of charged shots from the laser cannon and the Harris. But like I was saying, in this current form, this build does suffer pretty heavily from just not really being able to finish the job very often. It was quite a struggle to get the PvP matches that I wanted for this video, and I suggest kind of doubling up on the laser cannons, or maybe throw some missiles on it. It can fit just about any missile launcher on it. Yeah, oh man, it will carry every single missile launcher option that we have. The only thing it won't carry is the VE60 LCA. It's just a little too much burden on the weight and energy, but everything else works. Or wait, I guess it would have been better to do on this. Yeah, like I said. Okay, there are a couple of launchers it doesn't work with, but most everything else. Oh, we got a couple of cannons and bazookas it don't like either, but that doesn't matter, because key thing is, I would suggest either this or any missile option. Any missile option. Yeah, I'd even suggest vertical missiles, and I hate these things. Anyhow, I did go through the trouble of doing some PvP, and I also did go through and did a little arena fight for you guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the video. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, and come back for more. Later.
System activating combat mode.
Target destroyed. Concluding evaluation. Well done.